we know you an economic professor in Cambridge, but how do you describe yourself? Who is Ha-Joon CHANG?
Oh, well, I would say above all, I'm a development economist. I am interested in how to, reduce poverty and generate growth and employment and achieve higher living standard in the developing countries. Now, how do I tackle that question? I mainly look at industrial policy. So how can the government provide incentives and, if necessary, regulation to generate more industrial growth, develop your ability to produce industrial products, because history shows that industrialization is the most certain way towards economic development. And in analyzing those issues, my approach is very eclectic. I mean, I don't claim myself to be, neoclassical or Marxist or Schumpeterian. I mean, I basically have the view that different theories are good at different things, and in order to analyze different aspects, you should use different theories that are most appropriate. So, yeah, I mean, some people don't like it because, they all want you to belong to a particular school, whether it's neoclassical or Keynesian or Marxist. I would say I'm a pluralist. I believe that all different approaches have their usefulness, and we should all work together because, reality is complex. One single theory cannot explain everything, so you need to work with other people.
Okay. Then concerning your views, how do you comment on the European economy current situation? Do you think that they are going on the right way?
No, I think they are making a terrible mistake because, I mean, what they have to understand is that, basically the problem is that one person's spending is another's income. One country's spending is another's income. So, if you begin to say, well, we are in a bad economic situation, I'm going to cut down on my spending, it makes sense for the individual. But if everyone did that, because I need to get money from someone else, if that someone else stops spending, I cannot get the money. So the European leaders have unfortunately created this downward spiral where everyone is supposed to reduce their spending, and everyone suffers from reduced demand. And as a result, everyone has to reduce their spending even more. So I think they have put the union on the wrong path. And more importantly, insofar as there were problems, because there were problems with countries like Greece and Spain and Portugal and Italy, I mean, the problem should have been solved in a more forward-looking way. I mean, these countries have, basically the deficit problems, which shows that they are spending more than they can produce. So, in my view, the right solution is to allow them to develop their abilities to produce, rather than trying to make them cut. So I think it's a very unfortunate situation, which has repercussions on many other countries, like Turkey or even South Korea, for which the European Union is a big trading partner. So yeah, I mean, I hope they kind of have a rethink about the problem and change the course.
Coming to Turkey, I don't know whether you have the opportunity to follow the Turkish economy and the political situation. We have completed the elections recently. Now the government program is being written. What would you recommend to government and the economy?
Well, Turkey has, I think that because it had this period when there was a lot of inflation, and you are paying like, I don't know, 1 million lira to buy a cake. People tend to think that that everything in the past was done wrong. I mean, Turkey has achieved quite a lot. From the ruins of the Ottoman Empire, it has become a very solid middle-income country. But I think now it's at the crossroads, because now if you want to progress further, now you really have to play in the big league. You can't remain kind of second rate anymore. Yeah? So now you have to take on the best producers of whatever you want to produce in the future. And for that, you need very concerted effort. I mean, focus on some key industries, provide custom-made, the support for those industries through a mixture of government policy and private sector initiative. And it really needs to think about a way to move up one level,
For the last decades, particularly, the financial sector seems to be on front of the industrial sectors in terms of volumes. Do you think that this have a negative effect on the economies and wealth and development in general?
Well, I don't think you can generalize. Simply because your financial sector is doing well, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's causing negative effect, although very often it is the case. I mean, we've seen that in countries like Britain or the United States. The financial sector is just growing in an unsustainable way without real economic basis, and basically the link between the real economy and the financial sector has been severed, and a lot of financial activities became just for the sake of making money. So I think that you can have a negative situation. I don't know about the Turkish situation, but whichever country you look at, I mean, there will be a problem if the financial sector and the real economy gets separated. And so I think if that's looking like the situation in Turkey, I think there has to be some measures to bring that back, because in the end, I mean, financial sector cannot exist if the real economy is weak. So, if the financial sector becomes de-linked from the real sector, and the real sector is starved of the money to invest in, raising productivity, it's eventually going to hit the financial sector as well.
Maybe this is mostly related with the corruption, the negative effects of the financial sector. Okay, you have, we know that you wrote a lot of books, 13 as far as I know, maybe more.
15, but 15. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that there's pretty much interest in your books. What do you think about interest in your books? Are you happy with, do you see it is enough the interest in your books?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you are writing things, I mean, the best thing that can happen is someone reads it, And if there are, literally millions of people who want to read me, then I'm very flattered. And yeah, I mean, it's the best thing that can happen to an academic who, after all, live by ideas, So I'm very happy, and I mean, I'm particularly flattered by the interest shown in Turkey, and I mean, I'm very grateful for people taking interest in what I have to say.
Lastly, what would you advise the newcomers and new economist candidates?
Yes, I think it's actually much less the case in Turkey, but all over the world, economics education has become very technical and detached from the real world. So, at least I know that in Turkey, there are still different traditions like Keynesian economics or some Marxist economics or institutional economics being taught in universities, but in many other countries, these things have disappeared. Now, I'm not, as I said earlier, an advocate of any particular school. So, what I'm concerned is not that, they stop teaching, I don't know, Marxist economics or whatever, but this change in intellectual approach that basically knowing one theory, knowing a very abstract theory with little knowledge of the real world, you can somehow become an economist. I think that's the most worrying thing because, these days, when people graduate with an economics degree with very, very vague idea of how the real world works. And I'm sure that in the private sector, you find that all these graduates are very clever, but you have to basically retrain them because they know nothing about the real world. So I hope, and actually some students are doing it in at least some countries, demanding that the education becomes more linked with the real world, They get taught more than one theory, and they are basically trained to understand the world rather than just a particular type of theory. And the students should demand that because they deserve it. And in many countries, the student movements have started to demand these things. And although very slowly, universities are listening to this demand and changing the way economics is taught. So let's hope that that becomes more widespread.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
For your time. Again, I'd like to thank you for your visit and attendance to the summit.
Thank you.